My home to me is freedom. It's a place where when we can kind of have people round and that kind of thing again, where, amazing memories will be made. It's just such a nice feeling to finally have somewhere that is my own. I can do what I want when I want, and that's kind of really important for me after sharing for so long. I'm not originally from London, and my family is back home in Leeds. So it was really important for me that my friendship groups were easily accessible. So I chose a place which luckily is right by a station. I think house buying is 100% a personal, experience. And I wanted to speak to wider members of my team to find out what's important to them when looking for a home.
All we was looking for in our home was a new build, somewhere where everything was done for us.
I wanted a pub within walking distance. Luckily there's one 3 minutes away.
Well, 5 if you had 3 or more pints.
I really want to live south of the river.
I love cycling. So when I was looking to purchase a home, the decision was to look at where it was easily commutable on a bike.
Incredibly important to make sure that we had our own personal space where we could step outside the interior of the flat.
I wanted that extra bedroom for when we had friends over or family that they could stay.
I own a lot of houseplants, so having a place with a lot of natural daylight was really, really important to me.
As someone who has recently gone through a home search myself, I think it's really important to have a sit down and think about what is really important for you and your home, whether that be connectivity, in terms of where the property is located, or you want a really spacious kitchen because you enjoy cooking, or if you're just looking for, a home that takes care of you.
Where we've kind of had the last year and a half been, cooped up inside, things got very stressful. You'd finish work and you'd still have, work in your mind because you couldn't really escape. So having this new lifestyle, this bit of freedom that we've now got, just works for us. We do like to have people around. We do like to socialise a lot. It is about large numbers for us. I've got a very, very large family. So having a large space is very, very important. This is the second time I've actually bought a property. And I thought being in sales and knowing the whole customer journey and what goes on in the background, I thought it was going to be a lot easier. What I thought was going to be a 4-week turnaround turned into a 12-week nightmare situation for ourselves. With then having to factor in all the additional costs that I didn't expect, we ended up probably needing an extra £3,000-4,000.
Even being in the industry for 5 to 6 years, I got caught out with some unforeseen financials. So what I would suggest is try and get some advice. So here's Zoe from SRC. Hopefully she's got some good tips for you.
I was uneducated when I bought my first home, and I would definitely say that using a mortgage broker would have benefited me. Probably actually would have got a better deal because I just went directly into my bank, which is what people normally do. My budget part of it was quite well managed. The only thing that I didn't look into more was the fees side of things. The other fees that you need to factor in are your solicitors, which can range anything from £1,500 upwards. You've also got potential fees for the bank, depending on the mortgage that you go with. So these could be from nothing up to sort of £1,500. If you're going to use a mortgage broker, you need to factor in their costs as well. Some of these can be sort of up to £1,000 as well. We normally say roughly around an extra £4,000 or £5,000 on top of your deposit. Stamp duty is something that you need to take into account. There are calculators online that can give you an idea. Definitely factor in costs for buying furniture, furnishing it. Also removal costs. So if you've already got furniture, how are you going to move that from one place to another? With shared ownership, how you work out what you can buy is a little bit different to buying just a normal property. So you're allowed to spend under the government scheme up to a maximum of 45% of your take-home pay on your mortgage, your rent and your service charge. The scheme lets you buy a house that you wouldn't normally be able to afford. Yes, you have to pay a rent, a mortgage and a service charge, but that normally equates to the same price you would pay just for the mortgage on a larger property anyway. For Help to Buy, it's still a maximum of 4.5 times your income and no more than 45% of your pay. But you then get to take into account the extra deposit that you're getting to put down. With Help to Buy, you can access better interest rates because you've got a bigger deposit. Although you're only putting 5% in because the government are guaranteeing your other part of deposit, you're getting much better interest rates. The loan that you borrow is interest-free for 5 years, and the aim is to pay off that loan at the 5-year period, so you don't pay any interest. One tip I would have from my experience of buying my first property would be to check your credit. People think that a payday loan is credit and it's going to help build up your credit. It doesn't. So avoid payday loans. With your student loan, because your take home, your net pay is reduced because of your student loan deduction, it impacts what you can borrow because you're not taking home as much money to be able to use towards your mortgage. So just to manage expectations a little bit, that your borrowing might be slightly less, or it's really beneficial if you get a credit card. You use the credit card for your everyday spending and then pay that off in full. The banks just want to see that you can behave, and that really increases your chances of being able to obtain a mortgage. The other thing as well that I didn't realise at the time was being registered on the electoral roll. That can help your chances of getting a mortgage as well. We help self-employed people all the time. What banks will lend to you is based on your net profit, which is what you pay your tax on. So if you are putting lots of expenses through, that's not going to help you with your borrowing. For me, when I bought my first home, it's a bit of a crazy way of saving, but I actually had envelopes and I used to draw cash out every month and I used to split them up into the envelopes. So I'd have an envelope for going out, an envelope for having my hair done, an envelope for my nails. And once I spent what was in that envelope, that was all I had. So anything else I had left then was saved. Small changes to your life will massively benefit you to be able to own your own home, have your own space, not be tied to anybody else. It's just lovely to be able to have your own space and do what you want.
Having the stamp duty holiday was a big incentive for us to actually move and proceed with the property. And it's just a savings that initially I wouldn't have been able to have, otherwise it would have come out straight of the deposit or even the furniture fund. So it probably saved us all in all around £15,000 to £20,000. So it's a huge benefit, and it's something that you just have to try and take advantage of.
Furniture inside your property definitely sets the tone. So here's some short video clips to give you some inspiration on how you can decorate your home.
I personally find it really rewarding to see an empty space come to life. There's nothing more satisfying than working so hard to make a design come together and seeing just how happy you've made the client and how exciting you've made the space. The concept of home is something I think that's completely changed over the last year and a half. I think nowadays it's more than where we live, it's where we exercise, it's where we work, the place where we have to homeschool and so much more. So I think it's more important than ever to really focus on what makes you feel good, to make sure your well-being is really enhanced at home. Choosing a home with a lot of natural daylight can have so many mood-boosting effects. This particular apartment was actually quite bright anyways, but we did make a few small changes just to help it feel a little bit more spacious and bright. We thought that by stripping back some of the artwork, we could make the room breathe better and appear more spacious. We also included much more natural and earthy materials such as jute, rattan, linen, cotton, and of course plants as well. Including plants into a home where you want it to feel more calm and to enhance your well-being is really important because plants are great at detoxifying the air. There's actually research to show that they can purify the air up to 84% within 24 hours. So this is great, especially in polluted areas. So we brought a mixture of tall plants and small plants, ones that we could pop on a desk or make a really big feature in a corner to liven up a space. The impact of working from home has had to make us really think of new ideas in which we can incorporate a workspace at home. So a great example of this can be found in the bedroom, where a really slimline desk is used at the foot of the bed, and although it is a designated work area, it doesn't encroach into the room. The bedroom is probably the most important place for your health and well-being. So one of the things we did was we swapped the bedside tables for white bedside tables. We then added 2 bedside lamps and swapped all the soft furnishings and bed linen for something white to make the space feel brighter. Blue is a really great colour to use as it's scientifically proven to lower our blood pressure, really important for a place to unwind in. The short answer to whether new builds promote health and well-being is quite simply yes. Typically, you'll find floor-to-ceiling windows. They also have great heat and sound insulation, which can promote a comfortable and calm home environment. New builds really allow you to put your own stamp on a place, and it can be really exciting as well knowing that you're the first person to do so. This project has been really interesting as it's completely opened my eyes as to how Peabody and putting health and well-being at the forefront of their designs. Each home is designed to be more than just a 4-walled shell. Home now is more than a place we return to after a long day's work. It is now more than ever so important to make it the perfect space for you.
Everyone meet Ethel. This is my houseplant. So I've actually managed to keep this one alive. So that's really impressive. And that's one thing that I've definitely picked up and started to learn and take more pride in. Watching the Interior Design Challenge, but also other interior programs, made me realise just how much I needed a gallery wall. So I'm really, really proud of this one. So as well as those interior tips, I've also been inspired to give you guys some home buying tips. So enjoy. My advice to you would be to book a viewing when it's raining. I know it sounds odd, but you will actually see development in a whole new light, and it could actually sway you towards one development over another. When viewing a new home, make sure that you're comfortable with how things work and that you're happy with how things work. So make sure that you check the water temperature and that you're happy with how hot it gets, but also the water pressure, because nothing is worse than a drizzly shower. Do make sure that you bring a measuring tape at your viewings. Now, I know it does sound a bit random, but I promise you it will come in handy, especially when measuring areas that may not be covered in the floor plan brochure, but also to even just compare the space to the home that you're living in currently. Also, when you're at viewings, do make sure that you open up the windows and hear the difference between when it's open and when it's closed, so you know just how well soundproofed the apartment is. When you're buying a home, you're not just buying the 4 walls, you're also buying into the area. So make sure you do check it out when you're at your viewing and have a look around. Places like this, you can't discover on Google Maps. It's always good to hear about an area from the people that know it best. So whilst you're at your viewings, do try and talk to neighbours, because they'll be able to give you a really truthful insight into the area and what it's like to live there. Whether you're familiar with an area or not, try renting out an Airbnb locally. That way you'll get a real sense of what it's like to live in that area. When looking around for a new home, do make the most of incentives that are on offer, because they are there to help. When I was looking for a home, I was able to benefit from 3 months rent paid, which meant that I could get furniture and appliances like this, and this. When buying a new build property, do bear in mind that your moving in day may change. Now, unfortunately, this can be down to a whole bunch of unforeseen circumstances. I mean, 2020, no one saw coming. But what you can do is just make sure that you are prepared just in case your moving in day does change. Don't be afraid about annoying your solicitor. They're there to do a job and they're there to work for you. When the time comes, do make sure that you plan for your moving in day. This means roping in any extra friends and family to give a helping hand, hiring the right moving company, but also double checking to make sure there's no planned work scheduled for your building, just to make sure that your access to your new home is seamless. And lastly, don't force it. You'll know if a place is right for you, so don't let anyone, not even me, convince you otherwise. Happy house hunting.
Home to me is a place where I can escape and shut off from the world. I can close the front door and close the curtains, and the outside world is completely away from me.
It's a place where I feel relaxed, I feel comfortable. I always love to go home.
It's that place where it's just me against the world.
It's a place that I work and also enjoy not having to fight over the remote control and watch the programs I want to watch.
Home is the place where you create the most important and beautiful memories.
Home for me is all about security and safety.
My home is mine.
Home is a place that evolves, a place that tells a story of us.
My home is my palace. It's clean and it's